Sarah Hay, and I am with Clements International. And this morning, we are diving into dealership technology. That's what we're going to be visiting about this morning. And we have a group of incredible people here who are on the front line of dealership technology. So before we get started, and I have them each introduce themselves, I want to just point out, we are going to have about 15 minutes at the end for questions. So as we're going through this slide will be up here the whole entire time. But if you would pull out your smartphones, let's see everybody's smartphone in the air real quick. Everybody got their smartphone. It's okay, we know you're playing games on it anyway already. So let's go to menti.com, menti.com. And then our code for this session is 45578. Okay, so 45578. And so as you have questions that come up through this time, that is how we will be taking questions today. And that will all go to Jeff's phone we'll have about 15 minutes at the end to answer as many questions as we can. If we can't get to questions, we'll ask these lovely people and then we will send out responses after the fact. So that's how we're going to do questions today. But so as we get started, I just want to say, when we think about dealership technology, business management system, and all of these other things we're going to talk about today, these are the people we trust. Okay, so we have asked some of the business management software companies we trust, and then Carissa, who has a little bit different situation here, and we trust them so greatly. So as you're listening to these people, these are the people we recommend because they care about dealers, right? We will never recommend someone who doesn't care about dealers and seeing them succeed, and that is constantly innovating. So without further ado, I'd like each of you guys to go ahead and introduce yourself. Already getting the mic passed off, I like that. Introduce yourself, tell us your name, what company you're with, how long you've been in this dealership technology sector, and then what's your favorite thing about working with dealerships?
Okay, is this working?
You're there. Yeah.
You're on. I don't really need this. So my name's Glenn Hancock. I own GIE+EXPO, which is, we produce a business system called
Can you guys hear back there okay?
Yeah, can y'all hear me okay?
You're going to need the mic as it goes back, yeah.
All right,
There you go.
I do need to talk to you. Oh boy. I don't know if I like hearing myself. So my name's Glenn Hancock. I own GIE+EXPO. We produce, Lizzie is the name of our business system. We've been doing it since '94. I used to work at Snapper Power Equipment, so I worked in a dealership when I was young and grew up around lawnmowers and that kind of thing. And then I got this wild idea to start a software company, which I'm still trying to decide if it was a good idea or not. But that's kind of our thing. Our central focus at our company is not really software. In fact, if you talk to any of my sales guys, I tell them up front, we're not a software company. We're a service company. Lizzie's just the tool that we use to try to service our dealers. So, everything that's built into our software literally came from dealers needing this or that. And it's kind of our job to try to make it happen. So that's our thing.
Thank you, Glenn. My name is AJ. I'm the general manager of Ideal Software and more recently C-Systems Software. I've been involved in dealership technologies for the past 8 years. I started working with Constellation Dealership Group, where we help serve RV dealerships, marine dealerships, some small auto dealerships, OPE, of course, outdoor power sports, and I've been working in the innovation side, talking to dealers, meeting with them at their place, seeing how they do business, what kind of challenges they have, and translating that into a product, a service that will help the dealers grow and manage their dealership better. My most favorite thing when I visit the dealers, and I do a lot of that, in a couple of dealerships when I was there in Pennsylvania a few weeks ago, I noticed as I entered in their display area, they had some of the older models, the first models that they sold. And that's very interesting to see how the lawnmowers have evolved over a period of time. And I just love seeing that, and love seeing the story of how they started, and where they're trying to go, and how we can help the dealers get to where they want to go. So that was very interesting to see.
Hi there, I'm Ann Salemo. I'm CEO of Charter Software, and we have a business system called Aspen. And I've been in this industry since I was like 12.
Like 10 years.
Since 1985.
10 years.
My dad founded the company and I purchased it from him in '96. Started the company in '88 after one of my largest clients was a Caterpillar dealer as a CPA, and so we started off as an accounting system for equipment dealers, and we migrated by about 1990 over to all of the different aspects of equipment dealer management. So I've been involved for a very long time. Probably my favorite thing about working with dealers is seeing their unique businesses. About 80% of our customers are in the light industrial, construction, and agricultural business, which includes a lot of outdoor power equipment, and because a lot of ag dealers have become diverse, as well as construction and industrial dealers. So I love going there. I love seeing the next generation coming up, because that's the generation that we appeal to from a business system standpoint. So that's probably my favorite thing, is seeing the youngins come up.
Good morning, everybody. I feel like I'm which one does not fit with the other. So I'm on the end. I'm from Briggs & Stratton, so I'm the head of marketing for our dealer support group. We've been, interestingly enough, we just celebrated our 110th anniversary this year, so I would tell you that we've in some way been involved with technology for 110 years. I'm assuming a lot of you have probably worked on a Briggs & Stratton engine somewhere along the line. As AJ talked about a lawnmower and the older lawnmowers, that was probably powered by Briggs & Stratton. From a dealer standpoint, really, truly dealer technology, aside from embedding technology into obviously all the equipment, I would tell you that we probably did kick off dealer technology when we introduced our Power Portal. So again, if anybody's a Briggs & Stratton dealer, you know that you go to the Power Portal online, that's where you get all your information, that's where you order all your parts. So we've been involved and launched that about 35 years ago, so for quite a long time. And then somewhere along the line, I think we'll probably talk about something that we just recently introduced, which is really, I think, on the cutting edge of technology, and called InfoHub. So I'm not going to get into a lot of detail, but essentially, for you guys, it's, and actually one of the favorite things I like about dealers is talking to you. So Briggs & Stratton develops things because we have conversations with you. And like I think AJ or Glenn said, finding out what your pain points are and then developing a product to help that, because we do want to see you succeed. We have 40,000 dealers worldwide, so pretty important to our business. But we heard from a lot of dealers, about 44% of people lose their demo equipment. Does that ever happen to anybody where you might not be able to find your demo equipment?
It happens to the floor plan companies.
Right, exactly. So we're talking to Wells Fargo later about that. And about 19% of those people actually never recover their equipment. So it's a really costly situation. And we have a dealer tracking, essentially. It helps you track your equipment and find out where that demo equipment is and be able to schedule maintenance. So we just launched it a year ago, so I'd say that's kind of the cutting edge technology that Briggs & Stratton is now involved in.
Very good. Thank you guys so much. So one of the things I think that's important to looking into the future is taking a minute to take a step back and look where we've come from. I think that's one of the most important things for us to appreciate where we're going and how we're getting there. So the question I have for you is, can you guys name one major change in technology that you've seen over the last 5 years? So looking back over the last 5 years, what's one major change you've seen in technology?
Oh, you just okay. Mobile.
Yeah.
Mobile.
And also, what we're seeing now is a lot of data science, using data that your dealership management system, that your accounting system, that all the systems that you use every day that throws out. And how can you use the data to make decisions that will help you grow, that will help you be more successful, help you manage better? So that's something that we've seen that grow over the last few years. in the retail industry, data, it's heavily used, but we're happy to see that our dealers are asking for this now from us. And we've got something that we've rolled out in the last 3 or 6 months as a pilot for our dealers, based on their feedback, based on Bob, and we're happy to see very good adoption on using the data and actually getting insights and executing on it, which is even more important than just looking at the data.
We're all been answered. Well, obviously, mobile is something that we've actually seen a lot of changes in the last 5 years. The funny thing to us is we've got a number of mobile apps that we've actually developed, and there's some applications that fit really well. Pickup delivery might be a good example, service check-in, that kind of thing, but mobile is not the answer to everything. So it's, there is a line there that you can get a little bit too far down the mobile hole, but that would be a definite change.
Okay. Would you like to? No, okay. All right.
Good. And again, I think with these guys, I want to just reiterate, the reason we have these folks here, these are all people that we recommend. So when you guys call us up and say, hey, Bob, I'm looking at moving away from QuickBooks Pro, and I go, why would you ever even consider that move? But anyway, so all 3 of the software companies out there, we have one others that you've probably heard us talk about. They're not really in this industry a lot. So these are all people that I trust. I love what they do. Their software does what we need to do. They're all very responsive to us. So as we're working with you guys, we say, guys, we need to be able to do this. These are all 3 of these companies up here, as well as Chris over there. They respond to us and say, let us see if we can do that. Or normally they say, why did you want to do that, Bob? And I go, well, because it helps dealers make more money. And then they go, okay, and we can do that. So anyway, so I want you to know, we really appreciate you guys and what you do. I mean, you guys are just true patriots for the dealers out there that we work with. So the other question then, kind of going back and taking off of Sarah's, is what do you guys see in the future? So our whole last 3 days, if you've been in Sarah and I's workshops, all we've been talking about is the future, 10 years from now, what's this going to look like? And so I want you guys to address that too. What do you guys see that's going to be happening in the future? So if we go 10 years down the road, you guys are brain locked on technology and where it's going outside of the industry. So Glenn, just kind of go back with you since you got the mic. Where do you see, where do you, I know these people, they will fight you for that microphone.
Yeah, so the interesting thing is, we talked a little bit about mobile, and that is something that's going to be a big change. But the thing that I won't say the most excited about, because it hasn't really happened yet, but the thing that I really hope happens in the future is that the manufacturers start developing actual interfaces to communicate. Because to me, the dealership of the future, the thing that is going to differentiate today from 5 years or 10 years from now, is going to be the fact that you can get to the information that the manufacturers are holding a lot easier, a lot more fluidly. You can place orders by clicking a button and it goes off. As an example, in the power sports industry, there are vendors that when you place orders with them, the order is sent off electronically, and within 5 or 10 minutes, you have pull information to let you know which parts they have, where they're pulling them from, and eventually when they ship them out, you've got tracking numbers, how many boxes are coming to you, what warehouses they're coming from, and all of that information is linked back into the special order list to communicate back to the customers. And so you being able to do all of that stuff without actually having to physically do it is to me the most exciting thing coming. But we're still a ways off from getting these manufacturers to start doing it.
Oh, that's a throwdown.
That's a throwdown there. You just started something. You didn't.
Which is surprising. You started something.
Wasn't thinking we'd go there that fast, but since we're there.
Get ready for the mic drop.
Actually, we're kind of going there pretty quickly, quite honestly. With our technology, again, this Info Hub business optimization tool, it does recognize when equipment needs to be maintained. It does track the equipment. You're right, Glenn. I will take it one step further. It's not just a matter of identifying those parts, ordering those parts, but if you were that end user, imagine that I didn't even know that my ZTR needed to be repaired, and suddenly that I get a notice on my phone from a dealer that says, by the way, your ZTR is like, there's some problems right now, you need an oil change right now. How about if I schedule that for you? I will send a service person out there, and you're really maintenance free at that point. And that's where I think you guys will come in, you know, and be so valuable to those end users. So I think, you know, that's on our roadmap, quite honestly, for our technology solutions. So I do see that coming pretty quickly. The other thing that I would say is anything from a I don't know that it's one piece of technology, quite honestly. I do think that anything that you do outside of your dealerships, you have to assume is going to make it inside your dealerships and with your customers. So when you look at the number of people, there are now more households that are Amazon Prime members that are not. You know, and that's obviously a multi-billion-dollar industry. So anything that I can order on my phone and get with tomorrow, you know, or today, right, free day, people are going to want that coming from you as well. So when it comes to either Amazon or right now I can go to Carvana, I can order a car on my phone and have that car delivered. So, you know, you guys have to realize, obviously, that's going to make it in its way to the dealerships as well, because you're all end users of that type of technology as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree. I mean, and that's one of the reasons why I said mobile. The second mobile, the first mobile was a lot of stuff is becoming mobile out in the field. Mobile service, I think, is going to be something that if you're not doing, you're going to have to be doing, because millennials want you to come to them. And old people want you to come to them.
Thank you, Ann. I want to
It's true.
Here, you've got my credit card already.
I don't know about the Gen Xers, but
I want you to
know.
Okay.
Okay. Carissa says she wants you to come to her too. So, but one of the other, and I agree that that the technology is there, and what we're seeing is particularly on the ag and construction side is that the major manufacturers, AGCO, John Deere, CNH, Kubota, they're all investing a boat ton of money in IT now and technology and connecting you to them. The reason why that's great is because it's not just reducing errors and reducing the duplication of effort, but it allows you to focus on serving the customer, because you've got that connection going. So now you can spend more time selling and upselling parts, upselling service, all those types of things. The amount of time that you spend, I mean, basically what's happening is everything's getting pushed down to you anyway. You have to print your own invoices. You have to go on and order all your own equipment. I mean, everything that you do is being pushed down. And so now what you've got to think about is how can you push some of that work down to your customers, and that's through mobile applications. And so it's going to be very important for you to start looking at, okay, does my business system have a mobile app that my customers can use to log on and find the things that, because you've got to battle Amazon. And I do believe Amazon, I agree, Amazon's probably one of the biggest threats that you have. And in my opinion, that is something that the manufacturers are going to have to deal with and ensure that there is a way for all of those businesses to be routed. I think it's slightly different from a technology standpoint for many of you, because you carry so many lines, and so that's what makes integration even harder for us as a business system. You know, we have a couple of full-time people working on just integration projects with manufacturers and third parties, and so, you know, as the manufacturers start spending money on IT, that puts a bigger burden on us to ensure that we get that done. So you want to make sure that you look at that as well. To me, the biggest thing, though, is the Internet of Things, and you may have heard this term, Internet of Things, but basically it's being able to connect all your systems. So it's not just with the manufacturer, it's with your website, it's with any social media, it's any type of technology that you're using, like telematics. Those are all, that's what the Internet of Things is about, and all of those things need to be somehow connected to your business system. So I see that as being probably one of the biggest things you need to be looking at in the next 5 to 10 years.
Okay. I agree completely about the OEM integrations. We're out there knocking on doors of the manufacturers and asking to, and making a business case on your behalf to say, here's why you shouldn't be doing all these things. Here's how the dealers will benefit from this, and here's how you can benefit from this, because they have a very, the OEMs are very focused on just making sure the product gets to you. They don't really care about what happens after that. You're showing them, but caring about what happens after that it is in your best interest if you can be more efficient. So we're making the business case. We're seeing some traction, so we're hoping to have something available for you very soon. In the future, and I heard a lot of talk about Amazon, and I think about why do people shop at Amazon? It's no longer because it's cheap. That's not the case. I think it's because the experience of shopping at Amazon is so great that it's so simple, it's easy. It's easy to search. I can sit in my pajamas, look up something, order it, and within 2 days it'll be at my doorstep. The experience is so amazing. And that is what we in the retail industry need to focus on, customer experience. How can we deliver an amazing customer experience when they walk into the store? Can they find the things they're looking for easily? When they're asking for information, can we give them the information quickly? If it's not available, can we have it delivered to them? Can we drop ship it? What can we do to make the customer's experience so great that they want to come back to us? That's how we look at the future. And everything that we all talked about here is part of that. Mobile apps is part of that. Telematics is part of that. We want to take care of the customer even before they think about there's a problem. Because once they know there's a problem, they'll go shopping. We want to get to them before they know there's a problem. Right? And that's where telematics comes into place. We want to tell them that, hey, your engine needs services. You better bring it now, or if it breaks, your business will suffer. So let me take care of you right now. So this is where we want to focus on. And for your retail customers, giving the status on their service unit. What's going on with their service unit? Can they log in? Tracking, Amazon tracking. I can click on a link and see what's going on with my unit or with my order. That's what everybody expects now. Just a simple click. I want to see what's going on. We want to be able to help you get that experience to your customer. CRM is part of it. So that's kind of how we see the next 5 years going. Make the experience of the person walking into your store so amazing that they will want to come back.
Excellent, thank you. So one of the aspects as we're talking about this technology that we all have to understand is that there is going to be change involved on the dealership level to embrace this technology. So from your opinion, as you look into this magical crystal ball in the future, what are some of the key changes that dealers need to make now, starting now, to embrace this technology that's coming down the line?
So, got you all here. So my big thing is that everybody here probably has worked on a lawnmower or knows what a lawnmower is to work on it. And you buy tools and you learn how to use those tools and you work on your lawnmowers and you get your customers' problems fixed. However, hardly any of you spend the same amount of time learning your computer system, and you treat it like it's a third stepchild, and you hate it. I mean, I would imagine most of you in here probably don't like your business system because you think that it's hindering your operations on a day-to-day basis. So my recommendation to everybody here is to actually learn the tool that you're using, and whether it's Ideal, C-Systems, Lizzie, whatever it happens to be, learn it. Because it really is not there to hinder you. It's there to take the information and to pass it from one person to the other. One of my favorite things when I go into dealerships, I tell them, you know, when you get Lizzie, I'm going to have everybody in your dealership communicating better than they've ever communicated before, and they're never going to talk to each other. And that is the way the system ought to be working. But if you treat it like, I hate putting that invoice in, I hate putting the service ticket in, it's much easier for me to just go over and fix the unit. Well, you're missing your parts. A mechanic picks a spark plug up, puts it in a unit, doesn't put it on the work order, and now you're giving away free spark plugs. There's tons and tons of this accidental, loss of parts. And it all hinges back to the fact that you didn't centralize that computer system as being the heart of your business, because in the next 10 years, it absolutely, whether you like it or not, it is going to be the heart of your business. It's going to be what communicates with your customers. It's going to be what orders your parts. It's going to be what receives your parts, distributes them inside the dealership when they come in. So you really, in my opinion, that's probably the most important thing that you should take from here, no matter what else we say. Oh wait, we gotta pass it over.
Now these people are getting along. That's a bad sign.
I'll fix that.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely. You know, your dealer management system is your tool. If you want to grow, if you want to add a second location, you won't be able to do it without a dealer management system. If you're thinking of going e-commerce without a dealer management system, it's not possible. It's an absolutely important tool. It's something, you know, you can start slow, start just with the basics, and every day learn something new. Yeah, it's one of the most important tools you have. Call us and we can help you get better at it. But whatever help you need, we can do it. But that definitely is one of your most important tools.
Yeah, just very quickly, I always say your business system is your key employee. I mean, you've got to look at it as being an employee of your dealership, because it has as big of an impact as any other employee would have.
That's why we named ours Lizzie.
Yeah, I think just one thing to add, make sure that you're investing in it and you're looking at it as an investment. This really should be the same type of investment as your inventory, as your real estate, because ideally, this kind and these business systems, you know, we're talking about way beyond QuickBooks, right? This is stuff that can actually help drive profitability into your dealership. So I think, you know, what Abe said, start small. You don't have to boil the ocean. Find one key pain point and find out how you can solve that, whether that's inventory management, whether that's your invoicing, you know, your customer relationship management system, whatever that is. And if you're not the one that loves technology, find somebody in your dealership who is. You know, you've got plenty, you guys are still hiring millennials, you've got, you know, lots of people that are passionate about technology. It doesn't have to be you, but somebody should be familiar enough with it that they can help drive those business solutions.
And I shouldn't say anything, but I am, you guys have heard me, you know me, I have to say something. One of the things that I constantly stress to dealers is that your business management software will make you more money than you ever spend on it. And I think, Chris, it goes back to what you said. If you're doing matrixing with your parts, or if you incorporate the flat rate guide, I don't know if you guys have seen the new flat rate guide out there. We're working with the Equipment Dealers Association. It'll integrate into this systems just like PartsSmart will. And it'll increase your labor sales by 25% if you're just flat rating. So I tell people when they look at software, they go, it's so expensive. It'll be the best investment you'll ever make in your dealership, and it'll be the one thing that never calls in sick. It's never late. If you're there on a Sunday, it doesn't care. It's just happy that you turned it on, right? I probably shouldn't have said it quite that way. But anyway, but I would just say again, you know, when you look at software, so many people that we work with they always say it's a lot of money. It's the best investment you'll ever make in your dealership, because it's where, number one, it's where it's going, and as Carissa said, it's a profit center for you. How much money can you make in parts if you matrix over doing manufactured MSRP or things like this? Keeping track of time in your shop. How many of you in here are currently recovering at 100% in your shop? And it's because you're not having your technicians just simply do something that's clocking in and clocking out on work orders. Basic, simple things at $90 an hour. Every hour that you don't clock in and out, it's $90 a day per technician, a couple $100 a day, $1,000 a week, $4,000 a month, and then you're complaining because software is expensive. Cheapest thing you'll ever do in your dealership is to buy the software part of it. So we're going to go ahead, and what I'd like to do, Jeff, we have any questions back there? I want to open it up for questions, and if you still have some questions here, are we good with that?
Yep, we're good with that.
So Jeff, I'm going to have Jeff come up and grab my microphone, Jeff, if you would, and then you can ask the questions.
I'm sure there's no questions at all, right?
All right.
No, I'm just kidding.
So I'll let you book here, Jeff.
All right, good deal. So we had some good questions here, you know, really kind of revolving around some of the features that a lot of these softwares offer individually there, so we're not going to go into that. But kind of to address that, would you guys go ahead and just give us your booth numbers that you guys are at here so the dealers can come and talk to you about those specific features, as we're there? If you don't know your booth number, what are you near? What's a big thing? Give us a landmark to work with there.
Briggs and Stratton, so it's a really big booth. Smack dab kind of in the middle. Actually, it's a newer booth. We now associated ourselves. We have other brands. We are the owner of Snapper, Simplicity, Ferris. So we're actually a little closer to those booths as well. But we have a brand new booth. Strongly encourage you to stop by. Obviously, if you're a Briggs and Stratton dealer, we'd love to see you anyway. But also we've got, in fact, if you guys don't mind, Elliot and Andrew, you guys want to raise your hands? From our team, for our InfoHub team, they can walk you through a demo of what this does for you. Again, we just launched the dealer program at this show a couple days ago, so we can help you track your demo equipment and recover that demo equipment. So.
Charter Software doesn't have a booth here because we are mainly in construction and ag, and we used to have a booth here, but we stopped doing so about 10 years ago. But I am here all day, and I do have business cards and so on. So if you want to come up afterwards and learn more, just come on up.
We have 3 booths here.
You said there's some
you walk
competition.
The door, and on the right is our C-Systems booth. Please come by, talk to us. If you want to take a look at our software, if you go inside, we've got a C-Systems main booth right as you enter the main door, and on the left you'll see Ideal. I don't have the booth numbers on me, but I'm happy to stop by as soon as you stop by here. I'm happy to walk you to wherever you want to go.
593. One booth. Program. Lizzie.
Awesome, good deal. So there's a lot of questions about automating the communication with your customers there. There's a couple that are talking about, how do we automate that for moving the communication via text or email or whatever it is there, to really just keep your customers informed there. So what do you guys kind of see on the future side of software to kind of make that a better tool for your dealers?
Yeah, so we're kind of experimenting with this at the moment. We actually have mobile apps already. We've got one that is a customer-facing app. It's kind of a generic app that the dealer, you would basically text them code that would download the app and link them to their specific service ticket. So they can actually carry on bi-directional conversations with the mechanic or with the service manager, whoever it is that's working on their unit. Images, all that kind of stuff can go back and forth. So we're kind of experimenting in that side of it. We already have bi-directional texting that you can do where you can actually carry on a conversation with the customer, and it's not your employee carrying on the conversation. It's actually stored on the service ticket for anybody that looks at the service ticket to be able to get to. So mobile brings an interesting aspect to this whole thing. How it's going to be received is still in the experimental stages. Is the customer going to download the thing? And so that's kind of what we're doing at the moment.
Yeah, we've got very similar things where if you have a large landscape customer, we've got multiple units, you can have all their units available on a portal for them, and they can look up status on their units, look up history of some of the work that's being done. We also have the capability to text or email one-on-one with your customer, so that you don't have to pick up the phone and tell them that the unit's ready. They can just simply text message them, telling them when they can come in to pick up their unit. Some of the things we're working on are capability to send email blasts and text blasts so that you can send marketing information for your database. And that's all going to be part of our CRM that I talked about earlier, customer experience. It's something that we're working on. We're looking for early adopters. So if any one of you are on Ideal or C-System platform, please come talk to me. We want to work with you to put together a customer relationship management and a loyalty program that we can build into our software.
So we've had a customer portal for over 5 years within our Aspen product, and so the customers can look up copies of invoices, work orders, pull up customer statements, make payments, look up their equipment, and so on. I see, and we're in the process of actually giving it a facelift. Which is interesting because we've decided we're actually going to go, we're changing platforms as well. So I think that that's going to be good because it makes it a lot easier to update. In the future, and we also within our system, we've had the ability to do mass emails, texting. You know, you can text when all the parts received for customers. You can, with one button, you hit an email that texts or emails them right from the parts receipt screen, things like that. But I feel like we still need to do some work on ensuring that the texts that they're sending us get logged within our CRM. Any type of communication coming in is something that we've got to work with, and it's a huge challenge from a technology standpoint because everybody's on different platforms and everybody's on different cell phone plans and all of that, and so receiving that information, and some people are using Gmail, some people are using Outlook, some people are using whatever Apple is, and so I do see all of this becoming a lot more agnostic when it comes to operating systems as well. In regards to the business systems as well, which I think, you know, is really important. So because Apple and Apple has gained a significant amount of market share, so I think you're going to see that as well.
So just a quick question. How many of you guys are collecting good customer data when they come in, cell phones and emails? You all doing that? Just show of hands real quick. Okay, all right. Did you notice that was a pretty big conversation? We're going to need cell phone numbers and email addresses. So it's critical that you collect it. If their system can do it, but you're not collecting it, you still can't use it. So
It's true.
it's just because. So you got it. That's a piece that you got to, because that is the future, right? I mean, we're not going to do landlines anymore. It's those things there. So you got to make sure you're collecting that information.
All right, so we talk a lot about customer engagement here. So, and this question literally reads, you know, Bob talks about the future of parts looking up being self-service and doing that there. The question is, how are you going to make your software idiot-proof for our customers to do that? So kind of looking forward, right?
I probably wouldn't ask that question.
Good thing I don't have the mic.
Well, you can.
You guys.
God will build.
Yeah, so before we make customers idiot-proof.
Yeah. So he said, God will build a better idiot is what's going to happen.
Exactly, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, the problem isn't only the customer. It's, you know, you guys have got to learn how to do this stuff at the front. So it's, you know, as far as making that whole process, that question's a little, I don't know exactly where to go with it, but as far as, you know, having that experience easier, you really come back to having the texting and the apps to the point where when a part, as an example, when a part is ordered inside of our system, the customer actually, you know, they'll get their order, but at the point that it's received in, they're automatically communicated with if you collected their telephone number or email, and any of you ordering parts and not getting that information, they beat it on the head. But, you know, so when those items come in, that customer automatically receives information about what they ordered. Now, as far as making the ordering process itself more streamlined, that really, to me, falls back on the manufacturer being able to provide more data up front to make it easier for the customer to find the parts that they need and the proper parts. That's really not anything that we're going to be able to solve, or you're going to be able to solve, because you still got to go to the book and look up the part and find the, you know, and that's a whole problem in and of itself. But as far as, you know, once the part is actually found, that whole process is pretty idiot-proof. I mean, it pretty much handles itself, I'm sure, in all of our systems. So.
I've seen some of our dealerships, or steel dealerships, they have a display at the front where you can go look up units and you can look up parts. We see that's where the future is. We want to work with the OEMs where we can integrate with that system, so it's easy for a customer to walk in and say, this is what I've got, let me go, and this is the part I need, and it directly puts into the ideal or C systems interface, and now all you have to do is pick up the part. The customer can pay for it right there. Now all you have to do is pick up the part and deliver it right in front of them. So that's kind of how we see the future going. I'm meeting with ARI today. They have a very good parts interface, which they're planning to improve on. I want to see what they're doing there, so to see if we can integrate better with that. So I see a lot of movement in that area to make it easy to locate, find the part that you're looking for, and be able to fetch it.
I agree that it is the manufacturers who are going to be responsible for this, but the key is that the manufacturers allow us as the business systems to pull that data, and their AGCO has something called Parts to Go, and it's what the end user uses, and they can order the parts through that, and it downloads into our business system, so the technology is there. It's just a matter of getting the OEMs to be able to spend the money on making that happen.
I think the other thing, this is kind of scary to me. When we talk to dealers, we find out that about 30% of our dealers are not entering customer information, especially when it comes to warranty. So we know, for example, if they buy a ride or a CTR from you, they're coming back to you for parts. That's just a fact, right? So if you're entering your dealership as the warrantable person and you're not entering that customer information, then you're not going to have access to that customer information when that customer comes back in your dealership. So I bought a ZTR last year. You have put in your dealership information versus my address or my model number. So I would tell you quality in. I think Glenn said that too. Make sure that you're capturing that information so that you can reference it later and you've got an account of your customers.
Good deal. So again, we had a lot of conversation about data-driven decisions and using software to help make those decisions in the future. The question is, will AI be a factor as we're moving, to the next 10 years?
Has anybody watched Terminator? No.
Well, I think we got to get BI before we get AI.
Yeah.
So there's something called BI, and AJ talked about this a little bit. Big data. It's essentially the same thing as big data, and using the data to be able to drive and business decisions. So AI then takes it a step further, where you're taking the data that you've got and you're projecting out into the future. So from my perspective, I think we gotta get BI. We gotta get the dealers using these tools that we put in place. Like for instance, pull up every customer that I have that bought a unit from me but hasn't bought a part, or pull up everybody who had service that's never bought a unit from me. These are the types of things that we can do now. To me, that's business intelligence, and that's what all this data is about. That's why you do need to put the customer in, because you obviously can't get that kind of data if you don't have it. So I don't see AI as being something that will be anything big in the next 5 years, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Data, we've got the data. All of it is in your system. The system allows you to take it. We've now added a layer on top that gives you actionable insight using the data. Once we start using that, then the next step would be AI, and see what we can do to automate some of the decisions, such as part chartering. How much inventory you need to carry. All of these things could be done AI, but first step is let's get to the BI stage, and then we can move to the next stage.
So, in order to get AI, I had to have a guy sit down and write a program to make a computer think for me. So I say no. I think we should all keep thinking for ourselves, and I really don't think you're ever going to get to a point in my lifetime that you're going to have a artificial intelligence trying to make business decisions for you. And if you do, I'm sorry.
So Carissa, on this conversation, it seems like what you're doing with InfoHub fits right into this. So would you tell us a little bit about how InfoHub fits into this big data situation and how that actually affects the end user, the dealer, and then the other customer?
So this is kind of an interesting story because, as you guys know, Briggs & Stratton, obviously we were the largest manufacturer of small engines. We own the Snap for Simplicity and Ferris brand, as well as Billy Goat. So we're used to what we call bending metal. But we talk to landscapers, your customers, we talk to you guys, and we help develop, whether it's a product or a service that's going to help you succeed. So about in 2016, we thought that we had the answer for landscapers. We had a module that we put on to some pieces of equipment, and we said this is going to feed back all this engine data. Mr. Landscaper, aren't you going to be really excited about that? And they kind of came to us and they said, well, I'm sure that's exciting to you, Briggs & Stratton, as an engine manufacturer, but right now I can't find my crew. I need to go chase my crew down, and these are your customers. I need to go chase my equipment down. I don't know whether I bid this job properly. Does it really take 5 hours? And I said, it's 3 hours and I'm losing money. Am I making money? Sometimes they weren't invoicing people for an entire year. I mean, again, these are your customers. So from a cash flow standpoint, where they could actually be spending more money with you, buying some whole goods, they were wasting time of crew form and chasing their crews around. So we actually pivoted completely with InfoHub. It is a business optimization tool. So when we're talking about business intelligence, it's not just Excel spreadsheets or QuickBooks. This is actually would allow you to make, allow your customers to make business decisions. So now what we have is, it's brand agnostic. It's the first time sitting, in fact, I would tell you our group's kind of this startup within a $2 billion company. And we kind of get, the evil looks every once in a while, because you don't have to have a Briggs & Stratton engine for this to work. It works on any gasoline-powered piece of equipment or diesel, as well as tracking cars, vehicles. So we went back to those landscapers and said, well, if your pain point is tracking your equipment and tracking your crew as well as maintenance, then we need to offer you that tool. So that's essentially what we did. As far as big data, interestingly enough, the first year that we went out, we had about 100 pieces of equipment that we were tracking as part of this pilot, and we received about 4 million pieces of data within about a 3-month period. So we have, when we talk about business intelligence, business insights, we have a dedicated team now that just sits there and analyzes that data. So I think that's another thing that we're trying to say is, again, I don't want to make technology sound daunting. That's not what the purpose of this is. You have to invest in it. You have to find somebody who's comfortable with it, or you become comfortable with this. But when we heard landscapers say that they were able to now determine that their crew had actually shown up at a piece of property and was double cutting, they showed up late, they came back early, and they had no idea. So essentially, when your customers are so labor starved right now, they can't grow their business because they can't get any more people. This guy found out, one of our pilot users actually found out that he could have reallocated some of those resources to other jobs, made more money, potentially bought new equipment from you. So, I think just understanding too how that affects your customers is going to help you succeed.
Absolutely, thank you.
Great. So talking about just using the software and how we have it here, how do we make time to stay engaged with our software? We're so busy running our businesses and already making money. I'm concerned about buying and tracking it and not being able to fully utilize it. So actually, Bob, this would be a great question to kind of have you touch on here.
I'm going to play back off of what Carissa just said, in that just like the landscape contractors are going to have a person really dedicated to doing it, but it's going to make them a lot of money. The same thing's going to happen in your dealership. So just like you might have somebody that's a support person from service to the shop, right? I don't know if you have it or not, but as your dealership grows, you're going to need that person there. We build them into our matrices. So I tell people everything in a dealership is cash neutral. If I add a person, the customer somehow is going to pay for that person. They may not know it, but it's like when you wash a piece of equipment, your customers are paying for that, correct? You do it through your flat rate or things like this. Well, it's going to be the same thing with this. And to Glenn, your point again is you've got to have somebody there, because you as an owner many times are not going to be the person that does it, but you've got to have somebody that's going to be responsible for managing the data in that system, using the text to mass texting processes for marketing, because it lowers your marketing costs. People say, how do I pay for it? Technology will help you lower your labor costs, just like on the landscape crews. So I tell people it ultimately will come back as a cash neutral thing for you, but you're going to have somebody to do it. And again, it's a part of where you're going to have to be at in the future. Does anybody recognize that marketing's become less expensive over the years instead of more expensive? It's because you're using technology to do it. And we can, taking the information, to your point, Carissa, if you're just registering your dealer as the warranty provider, you're going to get about 5,000 emails to let you know that mower's ready to be serviced. So again, doing it right, taking the time to make sure that it's done correctly, put in correctly, because the data It's like everything else, garbage in, garbage out. It's always been that way, and it's still that way. So really finding somebody that's excited about it, that can teach. As you have a new employee come on, how do you create a work order? How do you do this? How do you do this? You've got to have a teaching component in it to make it happen. But everything I see that these guys are talking about, I see I'm going to either be able to reduce people, right? So if we have, I'm going to be talking about the future of parts here in just a little bit. You know, if we have people that are looking up their own parts in the dealership with kiosks like I do at an airport, and you flew in this morning, you have a few people at the airport, but normally I need a ticket change or I want to do something different. I walk up to a kiosk, right? That's the software there, and I interact with that, and it's, as Sarah said yesterday, it's frictionless, right? It's easy, it's simple, and everything that we're able to do that with, I can reduce my employee count. You know, because one of the things that we hear all the time in dealerships, it's hard to find good what? It's hard to find good people. Would you guys agree that that's going to continue to be an issue over the years? So we've got to harness technology, utilize that, find good people, pay good people well, but then assign them some of these tasks that need to be done up there from that standpoint. So to me, again, I'm a big fan of technology. And again, one of the things that I think, again, as we look at it, saying, gosh, how am I going to have time to do it? I don't know, you're not washing, some of you are washing the equipment. Stop doing that, right? We can find people that are good at these things. We can use them in other areas of the dealership, right? And have them really help manage and utilize the software. Krista?
Yeah, I was just going to add one thing. One of the things that we tell landscapers as well as all of you in regards to InfoHub is for less than $1 a day, you can track your equipment, you can track maintenance on the equipment. So, and then you kind of ask the question, how can you afford it? How can you afford not to do that? So whether it's time or whether it's an investment, you know, that if you take that time up front, you're going to find that eventually you're going to actually make more money.
Yeah, it's an interesting question because I think it is really hard because it's like, how do I take this big bite of an elephant, right? And so what you really, and this is what I tell people at Charter that have a hard time saying, how do I get my job done? And I'm like, well, you need to do I call it the red-green list. And the red-green list is, you know, write down all the things that you're doing that you should be doing to work on your business, and then write down all the other things that you're doing that have nothing to do with working on the business, where you're in the business, washing the equipment, maybe even turning wrenches. These are things that if you're a business owner, you got to start looking at, because getting any of these business systems pretty much will guarantee that if you use it properly, you could double your sales easily because you're using the tools that you've got. You could, we have customers who say that I doubled my sales and didn't increase staff. That's because it has tools in it that allow you to grow. It is really hard though, and don't let anybody tell you it's not. It sucks to put a business system in, and it's not a lie. And if anybody tells you that it's easy, it's not. It's a huge change for your business.
I think we talked about this a little earlier. Start small, right? Start small. Start with one major problem you're trying to solve. We had one customer whose major problem was, I've got 3 months where I get 60 units in for service, and I can't get them out the door fast enough. That was the problem he was trying to solve. And using the system, he put process together using the system. He was on our Infinity system, went completely paperless. And what ended up happening is it was a painful thing to do, the change, because you're not only implementing a process, you're asking people to change the way they're doing things, right? That's the most important thing you have to realize. It's not the system. If the people don't change how they do things, the system can't help you. So once you do that, this customer found that they could reduce the amount of time it takes to service unit by half. They get more money, make more money that way. So start small, start with one problem, and showcase to your employees that, listen, if you do this, look at the outcome. And that's how you get buy-in from your employees. And then go on to the next problem.
So this is where I start to cause problems. So I totally disagree. So here's the biggest problem that I see in a lot of dealerships is you think that you want to start small and you want to do something. The problem is, in order to put a business system in and be successful at it, and one of the reasons we named Lizzie and not NXT or some other name is because we want you to communicate with Lizzie. So you treat her like an employee and you do everything through her. So if you're going to create a service ticket or you're going to create an order, you tell Lizzie what you're doing and let her do her job, which is everything else. The reason that you can't start small and you can't focus on a single problem if you're going to bring a business system in is that if you bring a business system in with the intent of actually running your business successfully, you have to do everything. You have to have accounting, you have to have your checkbook, you have to have your ordering, your inventory management, your service, your internal tickets. I know there's a lot of dealers that'll go take a lawnmower out of a box and they don't create an internal ticket to do it. Excuse me. So what you end up doing is you're not tracking what it's actually costing you to sell that unit now, because you're assuming that it put itself together magically. And so you really have to stay focused on the fact that, in our case, Lizzie is an employee. Her job is to manage the dealership. It's not to put the lawnmowers together. It's not to manage your parts. It's not to, her job is to manage information throughout the whole business. And so you really have to kind of sit down at the beginning and get a game plan of exactly how we're going to implement this and not try to do it in pieces, because time and time again we go into a dealership and they say, well, we only want to track inventory. So that's what they attempt to do. The problem is while they're attempting to track inventory, there's all these purchase orders getting created to place the orders. And maybe they're using them, but they're not paying them off. And so now 6 months goes by and they say, well, you know, I didn't realize this, but we could actually do our checkbook and start managing our profit and loss and doing all this other stuff. The problem now is I've got a whole lot of junk in the system that never got paid off. It never got processed all the way through the system. And now I've got to go somehow fix all that. And I can't tell you, you know, on a almost weekly basis, we have to go back and reset dealers that have been, you know, using the system for a year. We have to go reset their GL and reset everything so that they can start using the thing properly, because they didn't do it all up front. So, sorry, but I really would be careful with the, you know, the one problem implementation of a computer system. It works, you know, if you're only trying to solve a problem in the dealership, but from a business software system situation, I highly recommend against doing something like that.
Okay, great. Well, I just want to, we are out of time here. Did you have something else?
No.
You always have something else to say, but we're just not going to give you the mic.
So I'm
So
going
we
to
are
speak
out of
again for another hour in just a moment.
Great. What a fun time for everybody. So, family business, right? So I just want to say thank you again for all of you being on the panel here. Can we give them a round of applause here? Today, and you're having time and you're thinking about making these decisions, go talk to them. They're all going to be around today to have these conversations. These are the people we recommend. These are the people we trust with the dealerships we work with. We get no money from any of them. We only recommend them because we truly believe that they are the best solutions and they're going to provide the best customer service for you. So thank you all for being here. Thank you again, guys. We really appreciate you and the information you brought to us today.
And just real quick, Ann, are you going to be here for a bit?
Yeah, I'll be here till 2.
So, will you be over like by the EDA booth or where?
Yeah, I'll be at UEDA.
Okay, EDA, because
Yeah.
Ann was the one that also helped bring in the flat rating system. So anyway, so if you want to connect with Ann and just find out a little bit more at the United Equipment Dealers booth over there. So,
Great.
And we do not make money off of these people. I had the other guy the other day say, well, you know, how much does Ideal or how much does Lizzie or how much these people pay? I says, we don't make any recommendations. I don't want any money. I'm recommending them because I believe that these are the people that take care of dealers. And so there is
Exactly right.
the common belief we don't actually get kickbacks from anybody we recommend. I don't feel like that's the right thing to do. So anyway, so these are people up here because we trust them and we believe in them. So thank you guys for being here.
Thank you, guys.